Last night saw the first episode shown on Challenge TV of TNA Impact Wrestling's British Bootcamp Series 2. These episodes, which will number in total 8, will be shown each week on Challenge TV Sky Channel 145, the same channel that here in the UK shows both WrestleTalk TV and all of the Impact Wrestling shows. Impact Wrestling, Explosion, and also we can see their pay-per-views or special events. Now, there are 3 audition places in this series. The first 3 episodes are the auditions. The first episode took place in Glasgow. The second will take place in Manchester, and the third will take place in London. And then in London, we will also see the grand final. So all those successful in the Glasgow, Manchester, and London auditions will face the grand final in London. Now, I don't know exactly how much they have filmed so far. I do know they've at least filmed the grand kind of final stages in London, so at least half the series, at least 4, possibly 5 episodes have been filmed out of the 8 given that the series will run to. We do not know, obviously, who's been successful, who has not overall in the series, because they're all under confidentiality agreements. And because this was the first episode, and because it took place in Glasgow, and I'm a follower, of course, of Scottish wrestling, I thought I would sit down and give my views, because I do know a couple of these people who auditioned, a little bit about the background, and a little bit about them really in general. So I thought I would talk a little bit in this video about the Glasgow auditions for TNA Impact Wrestling's British Bootcamp Series number 2. So, to intro the series, we had a bit of an intro video by Spud, the winner of Series 1, obviously just saying who will be the winner, who will join him really in the United States in being a part of TNA. We then got introduced to the judges, Al Snow, Samoa Joe, and Gail Kim. Now, as I said, there's 3 audition programs in the series. Glasgow was the first one. Now, the auditions in Glasgow took place at the Source Wrestling School. It's one of the top pro wrestling schools in Scotland. You can check it out, learntowrestle.co.uk, I believe it is. Search for Source Wrestling School, and you'll find that a lot of great talent in the Scottish and often UK scene have come out of or have furthered their training at the Source Wrestling School near Glasgow, so check that out. There was 2 rounds on this audition programme. The first round was personality. Really, the auditionees would be introduced to the judges. The auditionees would actually stand in the ring. Gail Kim, Al Snow, and Samoa Joe would be behind the desk outside of the ring, and they would ask each auditionee questions about their life, their career, their experience, about the character, obviously to size up who they have in front of them to make their judgments whether to allow them through to their next and second round. So the auditionees, well, first up was Kay Lee Ray. Now, that is spelled K-A-Y-L-E-E-R-A-Y. She is a very energetic wrestler. I haven't seen her live, I believe, but she's certainly, as she said there, she is very much influenced by Jeff Hardy. She wears bright luminous colours. She actually has her hair, at least on the programme, I think she changes it sometimes, dyed red. She's actually outside of wrestling a carer for a disabled boy, Adam, who we saw in her pre-audition video for each auditionee before we were shown their audition. In their first round, we saw a short video about each auditionee. She says that to be honest, I'll try to keep it quick because there's a lot of details about the audition, but basically she said she has a real passion for wrestling. She wasn't sure what she was going to do. When she first stepped into training to try wrestling, she knew that it was what she wants to do. And when asked by Gail Kim about the knockouts, what she thinks of them, she says they're some of the very best in the world, in her opinion, and it would be an absolute honour to join the knockouts. Kaylee Lee does wrestle guys, and that was brought up. And Gail Kim said, I believe it was Gail Kim, said, you'll be wrestling. That's how the knockouts came about. Came up in topics that you'll be wrestling the knockouts. And she says that's fine, but there's limited amount of intergender wrestling in Scotland. There's only really a couple of companies that do it. But certainly what I've seen with Kaylee, she's a good talent, and she very quickly got past to go through to the second round. Next up was the one Simon Lancaster. Big guy, shaved head, clean shaven. Don't really know a lot about the one Simon Lancaster. During his questions, he was asked. He said he watched wrestling since 7. I did feel he was a little bit over the top in his presentation, because he came in shouting that he's his typical kind of a little bit cliched wrestler. I'm the greatest, I'm the best kind of thing. I did think he was a little bit wasn't really aggressive. It was more like everything he had to say, he was shouting. Al Snow said, after a couple of comments about watching wrestling and but to general chit chat, he did get passed through as well to the next round. So that is 2 for 2 so far. Next up was Joe Vega, another guy I don't really know too much about. A guy with gelled back hair, kind of looked like Spud's hair that he has now, with a short goatee. He was asked, what are you like? He was saying he's here to always be 100%. I'm reading off my notes here, and I'm making no apology for that. He did look nervous. Joe was kind of a little bit, I don't really believe you. And he's asked questions. He didn't think he was, because it came across certainly with the judges, even they said it, they were looking really more for a more finished article rather than a work in progress. And the fact they said that when they were discussing who should be going through from the Glasgow editions, I'll get to that obviously later. They did give him 30 seconds to impress physically on his own in the ring, which was kind of his downfall, because he ran the ropes and then did a kind of a springboard moonsault flip to land on his feet, but he jerked his knee, which apparently was already hurt. He'd already hurt it before the auditions, or possibly in a match, and unfortunately he kind of had to withdraw at that stage. Certainly didn't get past. But apparently, like I said, his knee was apparently injured already, but he went through, did the audition anyway, which you have to say is a real positive for a guy to actually go through and do the audition anyway, even with a bit of a slight injury to the knee. Next up was Priscilla, Queen of the Ring, a kind of male exotico, male kind of transvestite, well, certainly transvestite guy, male, physically male, I believe. Certainly it seemed that way, so I don't know physical, but male wrestler, wearing a rainbow coloured wig, orange singlet, with black and dark purple design on it, almost like kind of flames. He said he was bisexual, and I also questioned him, obviously seen this a bit outlandish, not outlandish, but maybe a different kind of character than they would expect to see. Al Snow would ask, well, okay, now that's you, but what would that do to sell tickets? And he had a very good answer, saying that he was, there's a whole possible audience of people like him, the bisexuals, transvestites, people of different gender types, and perhaps even mixed gender kind of, a guy like bisexual or transvestite or transsexuals, and there's a lot of them that may like wrestling, so, he believes that if they put him his face on the poster, people would actually turn up to watch the show. They did give him they were undecided certainly about him. They gave him a 30-second promo. I hope I'm not using the wrong pretext in him, because he did refer to himself both as male and female in this promo that they gave him, because they were really unsure. They gave him a 30-second promo. A couple of things he said: he's got a black belt in cat fighting, a PhD in bitch slapping. He's the kind of girl every guy wants, and every woman wants to be. For that matter, I'm the kind of guy all the guys want to be, and all the girls want to be with, and all the guys want to be, and all the guys want to be with, and all the girls want to be. Very, very strong discussions again between the judges. They actually had Priscilla move off to one of the far off corners of the ring, while discussing whether they should put Priscilla through, and Priscilla, Queen of the Ring, was actually put through after a few minutes discussion. Next up was Noam Dar, a very young, black-haired, quite decent-looking guy. I know a few of my female friends, really like the look of Noam. He's half Jewish. He's actually from Tel Aviv in Israel. He grew up there since he was about 5 years. I think he came over to Scotland. I think he said when he was 5 years old. He's only 20 years old now. He's been wrestling for 6 years. He is highly touted as one of the up-and-coming talents in Scottish wrestling. He actually took on and defeated the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels not too long ago in a really good match for a great company in air, Pro Wrestling Elite, I believe it was. Pro Wrestling Elite. He took on and defeated Christopher Daniels in a really good match. Like I said, he works for various companies. He said that he would showcase the British style because it's a bit unfortunate. A few years ago we had guys like Doug Williams, although he's still around, but we like Doug Williams and Nigel McGuinness and a few others, like even William Regal, showcasing the British style of wrestling on major companies. Now also we do have the great Doug Williams still around. I saw him just a while ago in August here in Dundee, but there's no really anybody championing the British style on certainly major American companies. They were asking him about his background, whether he can speak Hebrew, and he ended up doing a promo about Samoa Joe right to his face, because he exited the ring. They went right up to the desk. He was invited to come up right to the desk where Gail, Kim, Samoa Joe and Al Snow were sitting. Samoa Joe was on the end, and Al Snow was on the other end with Gail Kim in the middle. Obviously, probably in case anything happened to protect her, but he did a good. I didn't understand what it was because there's no subtitles on Challenge TV. I'm not sure what he said. I don't speak Hebrew, but it seemed a very good aggressive promo that Samoa Joe wanted him to do an aggressive promo, and they passed Noam Dar through to the next round. There was next a quick montage of a couple of rejects. I don't know the other two names. One of them was Sebastian Radclaw. He did the kind of, they called it a gremlin dance. It was like sideways crabbing around the ring with Al Snow. I don't know the other two gentlemen's names. I think one of them may be in the Traditionalists that I saw last weekend at Discovery Wrestling. I'm not entirely sure it was him. I don't know their names, but certainly 3 people got rejected very quickly. We were shown very quickly. It was only an hour-long program, but certainly they made a good impression. But I think the judges felt that they didn't quite have the personalities. Next up was a guy with enormous personality, and that is Grado. Now, many fans around the world may have heard of Grado. He's actually done shows not too far away, not too far away. Now in America, actually, I think it was around the middle of September, he did a few shows in the United States. He's a slightly chubby guy. He doesn't work long matches. He's quite a bit of a comedic character, but he's really popular. He knows what he's doing. Uh, he's been wrestling for about 10 years in total. He's been around wrestling for about 10 years. It's only really in the last couple of years, at least I would say 3 to 4 years, about that he's become really, really popular, because he did get into wrestling and he was stepped away from the in-ring competition for a little while. He knows he's a real guy with a really good comedic timing and a really good comic instinct. Not entirely sure whether it would work in America, but he's getting hugely popular, and his entrances when his theme tune is Like a Prayer by Madonna. Everybody sings it. He's really popular. He came in, got some DVDs signed by Samoa Joe without actual DVDs, without the case. He said he lost the case. I don't know whether he had or not really, but they asked him a few questions. I think it was Grado said that he kind of ever heard of the old British wrestler Big Daddy, who was a genuine legend in British wrestling. You look him up, BIGDADDY, Big Daddy Shirley Crabtree. He said if you remember Big Daddy, he's Medium Daddy. It was quite funny by Al Snow, who said maybe you look more like Lumpy Daddy. A very quick comic, quite funny interaction with Grado before Grado got put through to the next round. He is a hugely popular guy here in Scotland. Then next up was another female wrestler competitor, Nikki Storm. Now, I've seen Nikki Storm many times live for Scottish Wrestling Entertainment, and I have to say, she's a really good talent. She's small. She's what she calls herself, a firecracker. She's very skilled. Sometimes in the matches, you can tell she is one of the most skilled competitors in there. She did extensive tours across Europe, especially last year. She did extensive tours of the United States and Japan, and I mean really extensive 6-odd-week tours, both America and then Japan later on in the year, or the other way around, but certainly about 6-odd-week tours of both America and Japan last year. She calls herself the best wrestler in the galaxy. She is certainly one of the best female wrestlers in Scotland right now. Works across the UK, as a lot of the Scottish talent are doing nowadays. I said that before. She's been wrestling for 6 years. She's very much in character. She's she's arrogant. She's very self-assured in character and persona. She's got talent, and she knows it. That's kind of the way that she is. She knows her character well. There's one female wrestler in Scotland that I could say knows her character, knows how to get that character, that persona kind of across. It's Nikki Storm. She actually works, I believe, certainly as qualified personal trainer outside of wrestling, and she's actually helped a lot of the other female talent in Scotland train. She apparently took to wrestling very, very quickly. She's like a really good talent. I'm not entirely sure how far she's got in this process. I do not believe. I'll get to that in a minute, but she's certainly very good. She knows her character. The judges, after speaking to her, were a bit unsure about her physicality, but she ended up picking up Al Snow on her shoulders and walking with him on her shoulders around the ring. She's not very tall, but I believe she's smaller. I believe she's smaller than Spud. I've never met Spud, but I can tell you, Nikki Storm is very petite, but she's very strong. As I said, she picked up Al Snow. She's very good technically as well. She's definitely one of Scotland's best female talents. She was very quickly, after picking up Al Snow on her shoulders, walking around the ring, put through to the next round. Next up was another guy I've not heard of, called himself Mr. Tank. I believe he said his real name was Adam. Wearing green camouflage with shorts with the cape and camouflage knee pads. Calling himself the ultimate male, can't have TNA as a name without TANK while being asked questions about himself. He said you should be asking yourself why you should sign me, and instead of saying why you shouldn't sign me. Al Snow then got him to do 20 squat thrusts, then an immediate promo about facing Kurt Angle. He was a little bit out of breath, maybe a little bit too out of breath, because he did look in really good shape. He's well built, shaven head. He had a little bit of a kind of 5 o'clock shadow beard. He did look in good shape, but maybe a little bit out of breath more than he should have been. I don't know. I'm not. You can probably tell I'm not entirely au fait with exercising really, but he did a decent promo about Kurt Angle. I think they were a bit. Again, the judges were very concerned a little bit about personality, about connection with the audience, and he didn't get past in the end. Gail Kim said it was a good promo. You tore down your opponent, but you didn't build him up, so that if you did win, it would mean nothing really. After you've torn down, you've shown he's nothing. He's not worth anybody caring about. That kind of thing, which I understand. But as I said, he didn't get through to the second round. Next up was the very last audition, which was Viper. And I have to say I've seen Viper many times as well for Scottish Wrestling Entertainment. I also saw her on the very first Discovery Wrestling show last weekend. I don't want to annoy her because the thing I would say about Viper now, I better describe Viper. Viper is blonde haired. She's slightly on the larger side, without being huge, like kind of the way that Bull Nakano or Awesome Kong was. She's slightly on the larger side without being hugely large, without being. She is actually, I know, working on her conditioning and her overall skills and her strength, and getting herself into better shape. But she is, I believe, from what I've seen on Facebook and what she's posted on Facebook, I believe this is true, that she has actually been very influenced by Big Van Vader. Well, some people may know him just as Vader from his WWE days, but world champion 8 times overall in New Japan, and WCW champion 3 times, including those 8 times. And like Vader, she's big, but she's not overly big. She's a little bit bigger than some people may. Some people may look at her and think she's maybe a bit too big. She's really out of shape, but I'll tell you, she can move in that ring. She knows how to handle herself. She's really good at using her size, slightly bigger than normally. She's normally bigger than her opponents. She's really good at using her size, moving about. She even does one of her signature moves, which is a top rope splash. She's really good, very skilled. I did think when she came in, she was smiling a little bit. I thought instantly, and honestly, these are all my honest thoughts watching it, because I watched it again earlier on before I did this video. I did think maybe perhaps slightly she was more in her self mode rather than Viper mode, which she perhaps maybe should have been. She was smiling, and I just thought, obviously you want to be nice to these guys. This is a big addition. Obviously, I'm not saying that what she did was completely wrong, because I've never been in that kind of situation. I've never auditioned for any kind of wrestling role like that. So, but certainly, like I said, she's really skilled. She's said she's been wrestling for 5-6 years now. Again, wrestling is what she wants to do in life. She's at that stage. When asked about what has wrestling given her, she talked quite well. She never gave the details, and I know a few details, a few details, not every detail, not major details regarding it. And I wouldn't, certainly not, even if I did go through the major details here on a public forum like YouTube. But she's had some troubles lately, losing her house, her business. But like she said, wrestling's always been there for her. And it's given her so much, friends, family. Certainly she's found a lot of friends in wrestling. Obviously like Sir Christopher Saint, Benoit. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them. And there's many more friends that she's got in wrestling. And she's, like I said, very talented. She was questioned, about, she looks a bit like saying she looked a bit too smiley, a bit nice, but she is. You meet her outside, she's really nice, but like I said, maybe I don't know, charging herself up into Viper mode, but maybe maybe next time she can do that, because they did look like her. They did put her through to the next round. Again, they were a little bit indecisive because she was smiling, because they said she looks like a nice girl. Again, she is, but she did a really good promo, a good promo about her being called damaged, and saying that people who are damaged are the most dangerous, because they know that they can be broken, whether it's bodies, hearts, or faces. She got a really good promo, and then Gail said she's sweet. Joe and Al were not quite sure, but they put her through to the next round to see what she could do. Then it came to pretty quickly, because I know I'm going on a lot, nearly half an hour now already, but next came, it's very quick, because we're already up to about just over 3/4 of the way through the hour, because this was an hour long show, but adverts included in that. It was a very quick in-ring section, the last section of the auditions. It was a montage of different drills that they had the wrestlers do, warm-ups, and then we saw clips of matches obviously set between them, between Viper and Nikki Storm, Priscilla and Noam Dar, a couple of obviously wrestling about, but we didn't really get to see just few seconds of each section. It was then that Grado appeared. They had actually said, obviously, somebody's missing, it was Grado. Now this bit to me was certainly, I feel, scripted. I don't know why. I get the feeling we'll see him again during the series, but Grado was missing from the section. It was only really after we get this montage of drills and clips of obviously set up matches like you two wrestle and you two wrestle, that kind of thing. Then we get to see Grado enter the Source Wrestling School again. That's where it was based. This edition episode. Said he went to get something to eat and lost track of time. Again, this seemed to me very scripted. He apologised. Everybody apologised to Al Snow, who got very angry and threw Grado out. There was actually an interview with Grado by Spud that we saw after this section, after Grado got thrown out by Al Snow and told him he's out of the auditions, he's out of the process, and threw him out the Source Wrestling School building, with Grado saying, he screwed it up. He said he was a dafty, which means he's an idiot for doing that. Spud was saying, I was sick during the first edition, during the last series, but even I turned up on time. It's really disrespectful, which is what Al Snow said to Grado as well. And then Grado walked away saying you haven't seen the last of Grado again. This was, to me, a bit scripted. I think we will genuinely see Grado again, especially if you go and watch on YouTube the British Bootcamp breakdown on Impact Wrestling's YouTube channel. I believe we may actually see Grado later on in the series, and it's very possible he may be involved in TNA after. But Then we saw Samoa Joe doing some physical stuff with all the auditionees, getting in the ring, more concentrating on controlling the arm and arm bars and wrist locks, and grappling a bit with Priscilla, the Queen of the Ring, on the mat, until the other Samoa Joe pulled a very good reversal and ended up with his foot right under the chin and pushing up on the chin of Priscilla on the mat. It was then, because I'll try to keep this quick, the judges' deliberations, who they would put through out of all of those that they had in front of them. Now, I have to say, obviously, with further additions, we know that there's going to be a lot of people, apparently was a lot of people involved in the final in London, but they only took 3 people through from the Glasgow auditions, and those were Kaylee Ray, Noam Dar, and Nikki Storm. So Kaylee Ray, Noam Dar, Nikki Storm moved through to the London final rounds. Now, obviously, that meant that obviously Priscilla, Noam Dar, and the one Simon Lancaster never made it through to, they were eliminated from the process. But so congratulations to Nikki Storm, Noam Dar, and Kaylee Ray for making it through. I have to say, I don't really know what how the whole audition process worked when it came to who was invited, who was not to the Scottish auditions. I would have liked to have seen it run more as a kind of major camp with a lot more people, kind of like almost like a training session, like when you got a big name, going to a wrestling school to host a training seminar, like a Rampage Brown or a Matty Jones or Johnny Saint or Christopher Daniels or a Colt Cabana, that kind of thing, or Road One Animal, or those kinds of things. I would like to have seen more people involved, but again, I do not know how many stages, whether there was any stages they had to get through to face the actual TNA judges. Certainly, I think all those who auditioned looked like they put in the effort while auditioning. Certainly, I think Viper, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and Simon Lancaster can certainly hold their head up high. Like I said, they put in the effort. They certainly gave it a shot. They went for it. They unfortunately didn't get through, but I honestly believe that there's always next year. The way they were talking about it, obviously, we may see another series next year, depending on how successful the series is in viewership. See what TNA gets out of it, see where TNA even is as a company next year after January. So we'll see all that, so we'll wait and see. I'm not going to go down through that route. I'm talking about where TNA could be, where TNA might not be, but I really do feel that everybody on the audition process can, and certainly Glasgow auditions, can hold their head up very high, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Noam Dar, Nikki Storm, and Kaylee Ray in the final stages in London. Now, next week it will be the auditions in Manchester. I may do a video on the auditions in Manchester, and maybe do a video regarding all of this series. I'll see what time I have. I'll see what opportunity I have to do them. But I thought I'd do one about Glasgow, just to follow Scottish wrestling. I know a few of these guys. We know the details about them. So definitely looking forward to seeing Nikki Storm, Noam Dar, and Kaylee Ray in the London rounds. Now, before I go, I want to say you can actually see Nikki Storm this coming Saturday in Dundee, Scotland. Not only can you see Nikki Storm, but you can also see Paul London, Brian Kendrick, and Leah Von Dutch here in Dundee for Scottish Wrestling Entertainment. They return to the Adler Complex for their next SWE Uprising event. Returning to Adler Complex, where honestly, we all thought the building was lost to host any kind of events, regardless. Never mind SWE events. The lineup so far is Global Hero Joe Hendry versus Paul London, LGT Little Johnny Trouble versus Brian Kendrick, a tag team match, Claymore and Damien O'Connor versus MDK and Blair, who are part of the Trident. We have SWE Championship Hell for Lycra rematch, Martin Stallion versus Ian Ambrose, and like I said, you can see Nikki Storm taking on Leah Von Dutch in an SWE Sirens match. So that is going to be a great event. Tickets are on sale, sweonline.co.uk. They're just £10 each, or £7 for under 14s. So come along and see one of the stars, not only one of the stars of a British Bootcamp Series 2, Nikki Storm, also, as I said, Paul London, Brian Kendrick, and Leah Von Dutch, who was actually trained by WWE Hall of Famer Edge. So again, good luck to everybody involved in the British Bootcamp Series 2 auditions. Looking forward to next week, where the auditions take place in Manchester.